Welcome to Congress in Context, your direct guide to what's really happening behind the scenes on Capitol Hill. Today we're diving into the Congressional Record for Tuesday, August 12, 2025. Now, it might look like a really quiet day on the surface. Most headlines probably skipped right over it. But, even on these slow news days, there's always activity. Stuff that sets the stage for future policy, reflects communities. Our mission today: pull out the important bits, show you what's happening, and crucially, why it matters to you. Okay, let's dig in.
So if you just looked at the calendar, Tuesday, August 12th looked like Congress was basically off. Both the House and Senate had these super brief pro forma sessions. The House, for example, came in at 9 a.m. and they were done by 9:02 a.m. Just 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Incredible.
Yeah, and the Senate, even faster. They met at 8:02 a.m. and adjourned just 29 seconds later.
Wow. Barely time to gavel in and out. Exactly. But they did the standard stuff, prayer, approving the journal from the day before, Pledge of Allegiance, and they appointed temporary leaders. Mr. McGuire as Speaker pro tempore in the House, Senator Rick Scott as acting President pro tempore in the Senate.
Right, and what's fascinating, or maybe strategically important about these pro forma sessions, isn't just the procedure. By meeting, even for seconds, they legally keep Congress in session.
Okay. I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, it's a subtle thing, but it stops the president from making recess appointments, filling vacancies without Senate confirmation when Congress is formally adjourned.
So even on a day with zero debate, these tiny sessions are actually part of that checks and balances dance.
Precisely. It's part of the underlying machinery, which, makes you wonder what else is happening quietly when the chambers look empty.
That's a great point. And one answer is definitely bill introductions. The floor might be quiet, but the legislative hopper certainly wasn't. On that Tuesday, 23 new public bills were introduced, plus 3 resolutions, H.R. 4947 through 4969.
And these introductions, they're like flares going up. They signal member priorities, issues gaining steam. It's the official start of the legislative process for these ideas. Even if, statistically, most won't become law, it kicks off the referral to committees.
Let's look at a few that, jumped out. H.R. 4947 from Mr. Arrington. It's a bill to prohibit the use of race-based or sex-based criteria in the administration of certain Department of Agriculture programs.
This one dives right into issues of non-discrimination and federal programs, specifically agriculture.
So it impacts how USDA programs are run? Who's eligible based on what criteria?
Exactly. It touches on fundamental debates about fairness, equity, and access to federal support in the agricultural sector. Could have pretty wide-ranging effects on farmers and businesses if it moves forward.
Okay. Then there was H.R. 4950 by Mrs. Houchin. And this one had bipartisan co-sponsors, Ms. Kelly, Mr. Thompson, Mr. Soto, others. Its goal is to get the FCC to add a layer showing agricultural areas to the national broadband map.
Right. Improving broadband data for rural and farm communities.
Why is that specific data layer so important?
Well, think about modern farming. Precision agriculture, right? Drones, sensors, automated systems, they all need connectivity. Plus access to markets, online resources, even just basic business operations. Broadband isn't a luxury anymore, it's essential infrastructure.
Like electricity was generations ago.
Kind of, yeah, and the bipartisan support here really underlines that. It shows a broad agreement that closing the digital divide, especially for agriculture, is critical for economic development in rural areas.
Makes sense. Okay, moving on. H.R. 4953 from Mrs. Mace. A bill to authorize a civil right of action for individuals on whom gender-related medical treatment was performed while such individual was a minor. Can you unpack what civil right of action means here?
Sure. Basically, it means creating a legal pathway. It would allow someone, after they become an adult, to sue, to bring a lawsuit seeking damages or other remedies related to gender-affirming medical care they received as a minor.
So it opens the door for potential lawsuits down the road.
Exactly. It reflects these ongoing, very complex societal debates about parental rights, minors' consent, and healthcare decisions. This bill would create a specific federal legal tool related to those debates.
Okay. Then there's H.R. 4954 from Miss McDonald Rivet with Mr. Fitzpatrick. This one targets companies that move call centers overseas.
The offshoring bill.
Right. It wants the Secretary of Labor to keep a public list of these companies, make them ineligible for federal grants or loans, and require disclosure of where customer service agents are located.
So this is directly aimed at job retention in the U.S., trying to disincentivize moving call center work abroad.
And adding consumer transparency. You'd know if you're talking to someone overseas.
Yeah, it touches on economic policy protecting domestic jobs and also consumer awareness. It could impact how businesses structure their customer service operations.
Definitely one with potential impacts. Now, H.R. 4963, introduced by Mr. Stube, a bill to provide for the rescheduling of marijuana into Schedule 3 of the Controlled Substances Act.
This one always gets attention. Big public interest.
For sure. So practically speaking, what's the difference between its current status, Schedule 1, and moving it to Schedule 3? Why does that scheduling matter so much?
Okay, so the Controlled Substances Act categorizes drugs into 5 schedules. Schedule 1, where marijuana is now, is for substances with a high potential for abuse and, crucially, no currently accepted medical use in the U.S. Think heroin, LSD.
Right. Very restricted.
Very. Moving it to Schedule 3 would be a major shift. Schedule 3 drugs are considered to have a moderate to low potential for physical and psychological dependence and do have accepted medical uses. Examples are things like Tylenol with codeine, ketamine, anabolic steroids.
So it would be a federal acknowledgement of medical use.
Exactly. It wouldn't make it legal nationwide, like, say, alcohol, but it would recognize therapeutic value under federal law. This could make research much easier, potentially resolve conflicts between federal law and state medical marijuana programs.
And maybe change how federal agencies prioritize enforcement.
Potentially, yes. It's a significant regulatory change, even short of full federal legalization.
Okay, that's clear. Now, you mentioned committees earlier. All these bills, when introduced, get referred to a committee. And they also come with something called a constitutional authority statement. What's that about?
Right. That's a requirement, at least in the House rules. The member introducing the bill has to point to the specific part of the U.S. Constitution that gives Congress the power to make this kind of law.
So like Article 1, Section 8, powers to regulate commerce, tax, provide for defense, that kind of thing.
Usually, yeah. Article 1, Section 8 is the most common citation. It's a procedural check, basically. It forces members to articulate why they believe Congress has the authority to legislate on this topic. It grounds the bill in the framework of enumerated powers.
A reminder that Congress can't just pass any law it wants.
Theoretically, yes. It links the proposed legislation back to the Constitution.
Okay, so beyond bills starting their journey, there's this whole other stream of work, handling communications from the executive branch.
Absolutely. Executive communications, or ECs. This is a constant flow. Notifications, reports, rule changes, appointments. It's the daily traffic between the White House, federal agencies, and Congress.
And the House logged quite a few on August 12th, EC 1679 through EC 1693.
Right. And these show Congress's oversight role in action. For example, there were notifications from the Department of Defense.
Yeah, about promotions. Authorizing a major general to wear the insignia of lieutenant general, a vice admiral to wear admiral insignia.
Those were sent to the Armed Services Committee. It's not just paperwork. It's Congress being formally notified and, in a sense, acknowledging these key military leadership positions, part of their oversight of the military structure.
We also saw things from NASA and the Office of Management and Budget OMB about acting officials, discontinuing acting roles, nominations.
And those went to the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. Again, it's Congress keeping tabs on who's running federal agencies, ensuring proper procedures are followed for appointments and acting roles. It's about accountability.
Then there were actual rules being transmitted. The Army sent one about environmental analysis.
An interim final rule, yeah, to the Natural Resources Committee.
And the Coast Guard sent a whole batch. Final rules, temporary final rules, anchorage regulations for LA and Long Beach harbors.
Busy day for the Coast Guard, apparently.
Seems like it. And these incredibly specific safety zone regulations. Corpus Christi Bay, Little Potato Slough in California, Chincoteague Inlet for the 100th pony swim.
The pony swim. See, that's fascinating.
Right. Kentucky River, Hampton River in New Hampshire, Dyes Inlet in Washington. These sound hyper-local. What does this flow of rules really mean for people listening? For you?
It means federal agencies are constantly making rules that affect very specific places and activities. That anchorage rule impacts shipping in 2 of the nation's busiest ports. Those safety zone rules affect boaters, maybe local events, navigation.
Even that pony swim.
Even the pony swim. It shows how regulations made in D.C., based on laws passed by Congress, reach down to manage safety and activity in waterways all across the country. Congress gets these rules for review, part of that legislative-executive interaction. It's the nitty-gritty of governance impacting local life.
So it's not just big national debates, it's this constant stream of detailed implementation.
Exactly.
Okay, beyond the bills and the executive comms, there's another part of the record, extensions of remarks.
Ah, yes. These are interesting because they're not things spoken on the House or Senate floor during debate.
Right, members insert them directly into the record. Statements, tributes, recognitions.
It's a way for members to put things on the official record, maybe honoring someone from their district, marking an anniversary, highlighting a local issue or achievement. It gives you a real window into their priorities and connections back home.
And the August 12th record had a really diverse mix. History, arts, local heroes. For instance, Representative Richard Neal from Massachusetts recognized the 50th anniversary of the Springfield Armory National Historic Site.
Springfield Armory, yeah. Huge historical significance.
He pointed out its role in the Revolution, but also that it was the site of Shays' Rebellion in 1787.
Which directly influenced the Constitutional Convention. That's a great example of how these remarks can surface really deep historical connections.
And Representative Chellie Pingree from Maine recognized 2025 as a chorus year, celebrating stage choruses and noting the 70th anniversary of the merger between Chorus Equity and Actors Equity.
Highlighting the arts and labor history, see? It's incredibly varied.
Then there were tributes to community members. Representative Lloyd Smucker in Pennsylvania honoring Tammy Tome, a Caregiver of the Year.
Recognizing vital work that often goes unseen.
And Representative Mike Quigley in Illinois celebrating Lori Cannon, Chicago's AIDS angel, an activist for decades, co-founded key support groups.
Powerful tributes. Shows members connecting with the very human stories in their districts. Healthcare, social justice.
Representative Richie Torres from New York honored Wesley LePatner, a victim of a shooting, highlighting her contributions. Representative Cherfilus McCormick in Florida included proclamations for a reverend with 55 years of service and a Haitian band, Karimi, marking 50 years.
Celebrating faith leaders, cultural icons. It really paints a picture of the communities members represent.
And Representative Beth Van Dyne in Texas recognized a police officer, Terry Caldwell, retiring after 41 years, mostly as a school resource officer.
Long careers of public service getting acknowledged.
There was local industry, too. Representative LaHood in Illinois celebrating Marquis Energy's 50th anniversary, now a huge ethanol producer. And Representative Wilson in South Carolina congratulating the Irmo Little League All-Stars.
Business milestones, local sports triumphs. It's all part of the congressional district's lifeblood.
Science and education got a nod. Representative Vindman in Virginia recognized Dr. Shamira Brown's environmental research and a high school student, Lewis Brown, for science innovation.
Highlighting academic achievement and pressing issues like PFAS research.
And direct advocacy. Representative Eleanor Holmes Norton for D.C. introduced a bill mentioned in her remarks, requiring Fine Arts Commission members to be D.C. residents.
Using the remarks section to amplify a legislative push for local representation.
Of course, you also see the political friction sometimes. Representative Carter from Georgia introduced H-Res 647.
The resolution condemning remarks by Representative Delia Ramirez.
Yes, alleging she declared allegiance to Guatemala before the U.S. That resolution was referred to the Committee on Ethics.
Right. And that shows how the formal tools of Congress, introducing a resolution, referring it to committee, are used to handle political disagreements and accusations. It becomes part of the official process, even if it starts as a partisan clash.
So even on a day with short floor sessions, the record reflects history, community, advocacy, and political conflict.
It's a microcosm of the nation, really.
So wrapping this all up, what's next? The House and Senate are scheduled for more pro forma sessions on Friday, August 15th. No committee meetings listed for that day.
Which confirms it's likely a recess or a very light work period in D.C. But the key thing is those bills introduced on Tuesday, they've now started their journey.
Into the committee maze.
Exactly. And that journey is, well, arduous. Most bills die in committee. They face hearings, markups, amendments, or they just get ignored.
So introduction is just the first, maybe easiest step.
By far. Getting a bill through committee, then scheduled for a floor vote in the House, then the Senate, then reconciling differences, then getting a president's signature. It's a complex obstacle course. Only a small fraction make it all the way.
Understanding that whole process, not just the floor votes, seems crucial.
It really is. That behind-the-scenes committee work, the procedural steps, the executive communications we talked about, that's where so much of the actual governing happens.
And if you, listening, want to follow any of this specific bill we mentioned, or just congressional activity in general, congress.gov is the place to go.
Absolutely invaluable resource. Searchable, official, comprehensive. You can find bill text, sponsors, committee actions, votes, everything.
You can find your representatives, see how they're voting, contact them.
All publicly available.
So, as we finish this deep dive, it's clear that even on a quiet Tuesday, the gears of Congress are turning. New ideas are proposed, oversight continues, communities are recognized, conflicts play out.
It's a continuous process. Every entry in the Congressional Record, whether it's a 2-minute session or a detailed regulation or a tribute, adds a thread to that complex fabric of American governance.
And the question for you is, how do you engage with it? Maybe it's tracking a bill that affects your industry or community. Maybe it's understanding the rules that impact your local waterway. Maybe it's just being more aware of how this whole system works. What part will you play?